A very good morning, students. Here we are again with our structural organization in animals, and we are just now moving towards our last parts. Today, I'm taking another specialized connective tissue, that is bones, and yesterday we talked about cartilage in detail. When you are watching this video, I will request all of you to pay your full concentration, because this portion is little little tricky. New you can say new abbreviations, new terminology actually we are going to read here, right? So your full concentration we need here. So let's talk about bones. When we talked about, when we did classification of connective tissue, that time we said that cartilage, bones, right, tendons, these bones, cartilage, these are the special connective tissue in the bones. And I told you that bones, we are going to read two types of bones here, that is compact and spongy. But first let's see the basic structure of bone. As I have drawn here a long bone, as you can see with the blue pen, I have drawn here. This is a very long bone, right? Now this bone has parts. Now just look at this part. This is the narrow part. This part is narrow, and narrow part is known as shaft. This is narrow part is known as shaft, and the ending part here, this ending portion, it is known as epiphysis. So there are two parts mainly, that is the narrow part, shaft part, which is known as diaphysis, and other part which is your head part of the bone. This portion, this is head part of the bone, this is called epiphysis, right? Now yesterday also we talked that on the tip of the bone there is a cartilage. This cartilage is known as haline cartilage. It is on the both sides. Epiphysis is on the both sides. This portion is also epiphysis, right? Broader part is epiphysis and narrow part is known as diaphysis. Now inner side, this portion, hollow portion, there is a cavity. As you can see, this red color I have made, this cavity is known as bone marrow cavity. What is the name of this cavity? It is bone marrow cavity. And inside this bone marrow cavity, cavity is basically what do you understand by cavity? Cavity is a space. So inside this space, inside this cavity, there is the yellow colored bone marrow, right? This yellow colored bone marrow is present. Why it is yellow in color? Actually this bone marrow stores fat. Because of fat, the color of the bone marrow is yellow. Now there is as you can see, there is a curved portion on the little bit above the epiphysis I have drawn here. This is called area of elongation, or you can say growth, where bones growth happens. Then there is this space is filled, epiphysis space. Diaphysis space is filled with that bone marrow, and epiphysis is also having this space, right? And these are called, this space is called your red bone marrow. This is called red bone marrow. So on the both sides we are having red bone marrow, which is erythropoietic tissue. If you recall your body fluids and circulation, we talked about erythropoiesis. It is the tissue where erythropoiesis happens. Erythropoiesis means it is a place where erythrocytes, RBC, as well as the other blood cells, they are formed. So this एरिथ्रोपोइसिस हैपन्स इन द रेड बोन मैरो. और ये रेड बोन मैरो कहाँ प्रेजेंट मिलेगा आपको? एपीफाइसिस में. एपीफाइसिस किसका पार्ट है? दैट इज द पार्ट ऑफ द बोन. सो देयर इज अ टू टाइप्स ऑफ मैरोज, येलो बोन मैरो which store fats, and there is the red bone marrow where erythropoiesis happens, or RBCs and other cells are formed. So I think this structure is clear. This is a long bone we have drawn here with the diaphysis, epiphysis, the cartilage, and the area of elongation, and with the yellow and the red bone marrow. Right? These terms are clear. Let's now go ahead. When we cut bone, now I'm going to cut this bone. Right? I'm going to cut this bone from here. So when we cut from the middle, or we can say we take a section cutting with the blade, then what do you find? Right? Which kind of structure you will observe? You will observe this structure, two circular like things, and actually these are the coverings. This is the one is the outer fibrous layer, and outer fibrous layer, it is known as periosteum, and this inner fibrous layer, it is known as endosteum. राइट, पेरियोस्टियम एंड एंडोस्टियम, क्योंकि वो इनर साइड है तो एंड वर्ड, एंड एंडो बेसिकली वी यूज फॉर इनसाइड, और जो बाहर वाली लेयर है आउटर फाइब्रस लेयर, दैट इज द पेरियोस्टियम. बेसिकली आपने क्या किया, एक लॉन्ग बोन को मिडल से कट कर दिया, एंड व्हेन यू कट इट यू विल ऑब्जर्व दिस काइंड ऑफ स्ट्रक्चर विद द पेरियोस्टियम एंड एंडोस्टियम. In between this you will find these small circular bodies. Actually this is a canal. This is known as Haversian canal or Haversian canal. Please, this is a very important point, that when you take a section of the bone, you will find one is the layers, outer and inner layer, and now in this space, as you can see, there is the inner space, and this inner space, there is a bone marrow filled. This inner space is filled with, cavity is filled with yellow bone marrow, because as you can see this portion is filled with the yellow bone marrow, और कटिंग सेक्शन में हमारे पास येलो बोन मैरो ही आएगा. ना थोड़ी सी इस बोन को और बड़ा करते हैं. राइट, जब हम इस जो ये बोन हमने ड्रॉ किया था ये वाला, लेट्स मेक इट मोर बिगर. राइट, सो व्हेन यू ड्रॉ दिस बोन, in the center what did you observe? There is this cavity, bone marrow cavity, in which yellow bone marrow is present. Now on the sides, जो कि आपको यहाँ पे circular लिख रही हैं canal, ये canal ऐसे जाती हैं, these longitudinal canals. But actually when these canal goes, these canal they attach to link to each other like this. As you can see, transversely साइड्स पे ये एक दूसरे के साथ भी कनेक्टेड है. दे आर कनेक्टेड टू ईच अदर. सपोज दिस इज वन कैनाल गोइंग, then it is connected to the other one, right? So in this transverse way they are connected to each other. Suppose it's like this, it is moving, then again it is connecting, so they are connected to each other. So when their connection when they are connecting to each other, that is known as Waxman canal. Right, just one more time, this is the canal which is running, right? So when it connect with the other canal, suppose this is now connecting with the other canal, and there is the another canal which is coming out. Now again there is another connection, so this connection is known as Waxman's canal. Right, means when Haversian canal, the main canal is the Haversian canal, but through when these canals they connect with other canal with each other, then they form the Waxman's canal. Haversian canal, what is running through these canals? Blood vessels, nerve fibers. Why? Because inside this bone cells are present, so these bone cells they need nourishment. That is why through this Haversian canal blood vessels and nerve fibers they run, so that the other cells which are present in this area they get nourishment. Right, so what did we say? If you cut the section, you will find outer fibrous layer, inner fibrous layer, and there is the yellow bone marrow, as well as the Haversian canal. These are longitudinal canals, and through these canals they are connected to each other and form the another kind of canal, that is Waxman canal, right? Basically when Haversian canals, they are connected to each other. This is clear. Haversian canal is the very important point here in the bone. Now the cells which are present in the bone, majorly three types of cells are present: osteoblast, osteocytes, and osteoclast. Like yesterday we also said in the about the chondrocytes and chondroblasts, same here. The osteoblast, they secrete a very hard bony material or the matrix, and when they secrete bony hard material, or once you can say the cells they are surrounded by bony hard material, they change into osteocytes. So firstly the cells they are osteoblast, but once the osteoblast they are surrounded by this hard bony matrix, now they are known as osteocytes. So what is the function of osteocytes? That is the maintenance of bony hard material. The major function of osteocytes is they maintain this bony hard material. And osteoclast, they remove old osteocytes. When osteocytes they become old, then they are known as now osteoclast. Sorry, they are now not known as osteoclast. Osteoclast's function is to remove the old osteocytes, right? So there are three major cells: osteoblasts, osteocytes, and osteoclast. One more time we will see. Osteoblasts are the first cells which are formed once the hard covering is formed, matrix is formed, bony matrix is formed, then they are known as osteocytes. Osteocytes is for the maintenance of hard material. Osteoclasts, they remove the old osteocytes. But the question which comes in mind is, from where these osteoblasts are coming? These osteoblasts, they arise from the stem cells. Stem cells, they are those cells in our body which are specialized to form any kind of cell. So now the osteoblasts, they are arise from the stem cells, and these special stem cells, they are known as osteogenetic cells, and these osteogenetic cells, they give rise to the osteoblast, right? So the stem cells which are known as osteogenetic cells, they will form your osteoblast. Now the matrix, what is kind of matrix you will found in bone? It is very hard, made up of protein hai, to this will be organic part, and the protein's name is oscin, OSCEIN, as well as it is having inorganic salts, two major salts which makes the bony bone very hard, that is the calcium phosphate and calcium carbonate. These both inorganic salts, they combine and makes the bone very hard structure. Mark it separately please, that what is the matrix made up of? It is made up of protein as well as the inorganic salts. Protein, which is the specific protein which is present here, oscin, and inorganic salts, that is the calcium phosphate and calcium carbonate. Next, now we are going to talk about the section of bone, right? We are going more inner side of the bone. The one thing which is clear to you, that this is the outermost fibrous layer, and this is known as your periosteum. This is clear to us. And the inner fibrous layer is known as endosteum. This is fine. Now inner side this, there we found these small Haversian canals, right? This much is clear to us. But before I take you to this structure, we are going to enlarge our Haversian canal, right? We are going to enlarge this Haversian canal in system, that how does this arrange. Now this is, as you can see, this is one Haversian canal. Now this is arranged in the concentric rings. How the cells are arranged, how these osteoblasts they are arranged, they are arranged in these concentric rings. As you can see, 1, then this is 2, then there is the third ring I have drawn, and the last one here I have drawn is the another ring, that is the fourth ring, right? These are the rings which I have drawn around these Haversian canal. Okay, now as you can see, there are the cells. These cells, they are known as your irregular spaces. There are these irregular spaces. These are very irregular, but they are joined. These irregular spaces which are present in these rings, they are very irregular, but they are joined, right? So these irregular spaces, they are known as lacuna. These irregular spaces, as you can see right now I am drawing them, these irregular spaces, they are known as lacuna, और plural को लिखते हैं हम lacunae. Now these lacuna, they are connected to each other, definitely. Just look here, these lacunae, they are connected to each other, and this connection between lacuna, it is known as canaliculi. What did I say? That there we are drawing this Haversian system, and in Haversian canal there are the cells, osteoblasts, they are arranged. How they are arranged? That these are the concentric rings, and in between these rings there is present lacuna, and lacuna are connected to each other with canaliculi. Okay, this much is clear. Now in this lacuna, there is present these red colored which I have drawn. These red colors, these are our osteocytes. These are osteocytes, and these osteocytes are also connected to each other with the canaliculi, and these concentric rings, these rings which we have drawn, these concentric rings, they are known as concentric lamella, right? Or the complete structure is known as osteon or Haversian system. Haversian system, because everything is surrounded around the Haversian canal. And these concentric lamella, this is a very hard cementic material of bony matrix. One more time we will see that what is happening. This is one Haversian canal. We have taken this Haversian canal, which is around which many rings are arranged, and these rings are known as concentric lamella. In between these concentric lamella, there are the spaces like this. Let's draw them. These spaces, these kind of spaces, and they are connected to each other, and these spaces, they are known as lacunae, and the connection through which these lacunae they are connected, that is known as canaliculi. And in between these lacunae there is present osteocytes. This much is clear. Haversian system is clear to us. So up tak humne what have we done? This is fibrous layer, that is the periosteum, and this is our endosteum. Now there is present this Haversian canal, and around which these concentric rings are present, right? These concentric rings. Now we have just put this structure into this form, right? And these are called concentric arrangement of osteocytes. Now, and these are present all over there. Here on the surface, let's draw it with the blue only. Here on the surface there is the present cells. These on the just on the outer side, and these outer surface, that is called, outer cells are called circumferential lamella, which are present on the outer side. The cells, as you can see, these cells which are present on the outer side, these are called circumferential lamella. But how new osteoblasts they are formed? New osteoblasts, they are formed from these stem cells, right? And they are present here on the surface. Just next to the circumferential lamella, there are another cells, new cells or stem cells, which give rise to the osteoblast. They are present. So this is the structure or the section of bone. Who is making the hard cementic material? That is the concentric arrangement of osteocyte, which is present around the Haversian canal. Now in between them there is the present interstitial lamella. So how many types of lamella we have? One lamella is concentric lamella, which is present in the center. One lamella which is present on the surface, that is called circumferential lamella. One is present in the inner side, in between, that is called interstitial lamella. So there are three types of lamella we have: circumferential, interstitial, and concentric lamella. So this is the section cutting of bone, that how does a bone look like, right? And there are the cells which are these lacuna. These are the cells which are basically present in the bone marrow cavity. Now compact bone, so this is how a compact bone will look like, because this is forming the hard cementic matrix. This is a structure of a compact bone. This is how two osteocytes, they are arranged in this cementic arrangement. ये जो हमने arrangement बनाया है, this kind of arrangement, this is how two osteocytes, they are joined together. So these, I told you that there are lots of new terms, right? There are so many new terms are there, that these irregular spaces, they are known as lacuna. They are present in the marrow cavity, and the connection between lacuna is known as canaliculi, and these are the concentric lamella. So there are three types of lamella in the bone, that is the concentric lamella, interstitial lamella, and circumferential lamella. Now comes to the spongy bone. स्पॉन्जी बोन हम यूजली कहाँ मिलेगी? आप अगर ये एपीफाइसिस वाला स्ट्रक्चर आप देखो, दिस इज द स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ अ बोन, and in between there is a diaphysis and upper part is epiphysis. So long bones, they are the spongy bones. They are found in flat bones, ribs, or epiphysis area. There you will find spongy bones. Which kind of cells will be present here? Osteocytes, osteoblast, and osteoclast. No problem in that. Matrices will be the same. Again, calcium phosphate and calcium carbonate, and together they called as the hydroxyapatite. Hard material, very very hard. The matrix is very very hard, and sometimes it is known as hydroxyapatite. Now let's look at the arrangement. As you know that the compact bone was very complex arrangement. Here you will find these kind of the connections in the spongy bones. There are no concentric ring arrangement. Make it very very clear that there is no concentric ring arrangement in the spongy bone. Mark it separately. And these long branches you are observed, they are known as trabeculae. They are known as trabeculae. Trabeculi, right? These are known as trabeculae, and this is the spaces. This is definitely cavity, and cavity of this spongy bone, it is the red bone marrow. Because of these cavities, because of these red bone marrow cavities, this bone is known as spongy bones. Now I have just taking this structure and I'm going to enlarge it. That how does it look like? So what we have done, I have just taken this structure, इसको section cutting किया है और हम enlarge करेंगे अभी. जब इसको बहुत बड़ा किया, then we will found this kind of structure, right? As you can see on the outer surface, there are the osteoblasts. These blue ones, there are osteoblasts. But in between, there are few scattered large size cells. These are osteoclast. Osteoblast, when they secrete bony material, then they surrounded by this bony material. Now they will be known as osteocytes. So those cells which are surrounded by bony material, those will be known as osteocytes. Again, they are connected with each other. As you can see, these osteocytes, they are connected with each other, and this connection is known as, now to you must know, connection. C for connection, C for canaliculi. This is known as canaliculi, and outermost layer is periosteum. Why you can't see here no Haversian canal? Just look at this structure. Because if you cut this structure, there is no Haversian canal, there is no concentric ring structure which comes in the section. Canaliculi will help osteocytes to connect with each other. This is the structure of spongy and the arrangement of the spongy bone. Matrix is same, cells they are same, only the arrangement is different. No Haversian canal, there is no concentric ring structure, but yes, definitely concentric ring, concentric lamella, canaliculi, these are observed. Haversian canal, the most important is, now the question which can be asked is that Haversian canal is a or you can say concentric ring arrangement, that is a special structure or the special characteristic of which kind of bones? The answer should be very clear cut in your mind. That is the compact bones which show this characteristic structure, right? In the spongy bones, there is no Haversian canal, no connective concentric ring structure is observed. So please go through this lecture 2 times very carefully. If you are still you still having any kind of doubt, you can leave that in the comment section, right?